Hello, friends, and welcome to Coach Cut's Corner. Streaming bright from Michigan's capital city, this podcast is dedicated to helping you better understand the who, the what, and the why of mental performance, personal growth, and Lansing Stars baseball. Coach Cut's Corner, brought to you by Eyewash.
In collaboration with Lansing Community College.
And now here's your host, Stephen Cutter.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Each week, I provide insights into our program and inspire you to challenge yourself to become a better you, ultimately helping you enhance your life just as I have mine. Additionally, I offer mental skills coaching to athletes across all levels, from youth to the professional, and you can find out more at coachcutter.com. We have Ethan Papacek in the WLNZ studios today. Ethan is a sophomore pitcher for the Stars, and his journey in the game is unique and filled with growth and challenges. Ethan spent his prep career at Stony Creek High School in Michigan before committing to Sacred Heart University, a Division I school in Connecticut. He left there after one season and came to the capital city, where he spent the 2024 season on the famed disabled list. He's almost all the way back for his sophomore season, and I wanted to get him in the studios today to talk about his journey. There's a quote that says, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." This quote emphasizes the importance of resilience and perseverance in the face of adversity. I feel as if Ethan has shown some amazing resilience and perseverance in his journey, and I'm excited to have him in the studio today. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that.
What are your first impressions of being in the WLNZ studios?
Yeah, I think the studio looks great. I didn't know we had a radio studio. I know I saw a TV room or something down here too. Yeah. So it looks like they've got their media set up pretty well.
Yeah, you know, the LCC used to have its own TV station and would have sports, stuff and different things, and that's kind of went away with the streaming of TV and stuff like that, and radios definitely went away too, and so it's now a podcast studio, and of course we have things in here for our students as well and for media. So Stony Creek High School.
Yep.
I did some research, and Eric Fisher was pretty famous there. I believe he was a lineman for the Chiefs for a long time. Did you know who that was?
Oh yeah, everyone that's been through Stony knows who Eric Fisher was for sure. And I know that him and I shared some teachers. I'd always hear some funny stories about just like...
He was a big man, right? Or is a big man.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure actually in high school he wasn't even. I think he was maybe a linebacker or something like that. But yeah, his coaches...
All right, so let's tell our listeners about yourself a little bit. Yeah. High school, did you play any other sports?
No, I didn't really play any other sports. I played basketball up until about 7th grade and got cut from the middle school team. So
okay, was that challenging when you got cut?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I really liked all sports, I'd say. Played football up from 5th grade until 8th grade, a little bit in 9th grade, and then broke my collarbone, stopped playing football. So, yeah.
Okay. When did you know that you wanted to play baseball in college?
It was pretty late for me, actually. The first time I ever remember talking to a college was Kelvin University, and that started in the summer going into my senior year as a pitcher on playing for Michigan's Premier. The coach at Kelvin texted me, and he said he was going to come out and watch me play. Played a game that day. I think I hit a couple triples and sat 78, 82 on the bump.
Okay. Yeah, you had quite the lefty swing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when did you realize that you were pretty decent at baseball? When did that happen? Was that at a young age, or did that come later?
I would say I was always decent when I was younger. I never really stood out too incredibly. I was a decent athlete. I wasn't a fast runner, couldn't really do anything too explosive. But I think when I realized I finally wanted to play college baseball was after starting a throwing program with SOA. A lot of my numbers climbed, and I really just ignited love for the game.
Okay, so that's usually what success does.
Mhm.
Yep, it breeds, kind of stacks on top of other things and just makes that drive and that ambition just a little bit stronger. When it came to baseball, you were a two-way player, meaning you played a position, but you also pitched. At what point did you realize that I might not be able to be, I'm going to have to refine things?
Yeah, I guess when I decided I would refine things was about in my junior year of high school. I got cut from our varsity team, so I didn't really understand my place or how I could actually help my team win.
Why do you think you got cut?
I know why I got cut, actually. It was really just a skill thing. My coach just didn't think I was good enough or great enough, and he had 16 or 17 seniors on varsity that year.
So a big roster already.
Yeah.
How did you handle that? Maybe at first, and then how did you handle it after?
Not the best, honestly. I remember him telling me, and to his face, I had a reaction that was pretty much just like, I believe you, I trust you, I'll get my work in. He told me that I would be one of the first guys brought up. Never got brought up that year, so that kind of definitely was a little punch in the gut for me, especially after getting cut.
How'd you start handling that down the road?
Down the road, throughout the season, I would say.
And this was your junior year?
Junior year, yeah. As I'd say throughout the season, it gave me a little chip on my shoulder. It gave me like something I thought I could play for.
So being cut for you meant like you needed to play on the junior varsity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you never really got brought up during the season to even help out. So did you start working on your skills, or did you kind of play the victim card? What did that all look like?
I guess I'd have to say it was victim card. I didn't really start working on skills until after that season.
Okay.
That is, I guess, the year that I picked up plyo balls for the first time and kind of figured out how to start progressing skills, but I didn't really understand how to put it into practice.
Okay. So what was your senior year like?
Senior year was a little different story. So I had gained probably 40 pounds at that point, maybe more, and obviously all my numbers climbed up. A lot of my coaches were impressed, thinking I was a different player than the year prior, so I knew I'd have a spot on the team for sure.
Okay.
I started to change my goal rather than just to be a varsity player. I wanted to be a college player. So
Interesting. And then if we take, another step forward, you end up committing to a Division I college to play baseball. What was that like? I mean, you were cut from the baseball team as a junior in high school. You were told that you were not solid enough of a player to be able to impact the team. What was that feeling like?
I thought it was a pretty incredible feeling. I mean, there was a lot of times throughout my road where I understood that I wanted to play college baseball, but I didn't really know what it meant. I didn't know where I would end up or anything like that. I would tell people all the time that I wanted to play D1 baseball, and I would oftentimes just get laughed at in my face because people didn't think it was possible. I just kept doing what I could to control that and ended up pulling a few offers out of high school, and Sacred Heart was a place that really seemed like they actually wanted me to be there. So
Okay. And then you were faced with some adversity when you got there, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I guess the first thing that I could say about that is I committed to a coaching staff who about 2 or 3 weeks later ended up not being there. So that was the first thing. We came in there
It's a
not knowing.
big hurdle. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So none of the guys really on that whole team knew our coaches at all. It was all fresh. Everything was new. So there was really there wasn't any, how can I phrase this, any games to be played, I guess. It was just you go in there, you do your thing, and you find your role.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there. I think it was maybe the second or third week of practice. The guy who ended up getting 11th round draft pick by the Dodgers smokes a line drive right in my jaw, had a concussion, maybe a few days after that, or not a few days, maybe a few weeks after that.
Were you pitching to him, or?
No, I was actually on bucket in center field.
And did you not have a screen on the bucket?
Yeah, so we had a screen on the bucket. One of my buddies, Matt Longo, he threw a ball in from the outfield to me. Took about maybe a half step outside of the net.
Oh,
incredible poor luck.
So yeah, that's some adversity that puts you out for a little bit.
Yeah, just
right?
a little bit, and then maybe a few weeks to a month after that, I had to shut down all my throwing. It was after one of our inter-squad scrimmages. I really just couldn't get any feel for the baseball at that point. My velo had been down for a few weeks. My arm killed every time I threw, even with 6 to 8 ibuprofen. So there really wasn't anything to do for me at that point.
So what happened from there?
From there, I went and met with Dr. Ahmad. He's the doctor for the New York Yankees. He told me he requested me to get a ulnar nerve transposition surgery. Ended up getting that and was back for the season around March.
Okay, so you made it back for the spring season.
Yeah.
What was it like being so far from home?
Yeah, it was definitely interesting, especially looking back, not realizing how immature I was my freshman year. It was just really a room with so much growth, and I can't really imagine how much it would have been different had I stayed closer to home that year.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely don't regret my decision to go out of state.
And what brought you to Lansing?
To Lansing, so I played summer ball over that year, and my coach Alamat, he actually he told me about Lansing. I really wasn't familiar with JUCO baseball at all. He told me about Lansing. A couple of my teammates there, Manny Gutierrez, he told me about Lansing. Charlie Minton, he told me. So kind of just word of mouth, I guess.
All right. So big influences in your life.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest influence in my life, probably my dad and brother baseball-wise. They were the ones that got me started on it. My dad's always been a huge Cubs fan his whole life. He grew up in Illinois.
He knows heartbreak.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, yeah, he got me cheering for the Cubs. I have pictures of me at baseball games ever since I was a little guy. So
Okay. We were just on Stars on Sports. We were just talking about Harry Carey's 7th inning stretch, you know, tradition in baseball. So, and your brother younger, older?
Yeah, I have an older brother. He actually ended up committing to play baseball at Purdue Northwest, which is a D2 school. And his senior year baseball season got cut from COVID, and that changed some things for him. He ended up going to Michigan State as a student. Now he works in Major League Baseball, or minor league baseball, rather. He watches a ton of their games, fixes up the stat books and everything like that.
Interesting. Who's he work for?
Minor League Baseball, just the organization in general.
Okay, pretty cool. So do they still give you a lot of feedback on baseball at this point?
Yeah, definitely. I text my dad a good amount. Same with my brother. I'll text him every time I get any video of me with my mechanics. Send it over his way, you know.
I love that. So you get to Lansing, your first year at Lansing. You talk through that a little bit.
Yeah, my first year at Lansing, it was definitely rough coming in. I mean, I had shown up here with a back injury, and I had pretty much no explosiveness or anything along those lines, so I was feeling pretty lost. I was doing everything I could to play, having just gotten off of one injury, so I was thinking, I got to play now. Now is my time, and it really wasn't. Had to fight through a lot more adversity. Still had my arm pain, so things ended up shutting down pretty quickly.
That arm pain never really went away after the surgery?
Not really, yeah.
Okay. So then what happened?
Yeah, so I got diagnosed to get Tommy John surgery. Ended up getting that on December 19th of last year, and just been the road to recovery ever since. I think that is a huge changing point for me in my career, though.
Okay. What's that road like? Or what's the road like for you? Because it's a different road for everybody that goes through it, and there's some similarities for most people that they talk about, but what's the road been like for you?
Yeah, for me, it's been a little bit slower, I'd imagine. I mean, having it been the second surgery in a year, that just means the simple things like more scar tissues in there, more whatever it is. Not a doctor, but, you know, there's a lot that goes into it, I know. And I guess it was just getting punched in the face and then getting punched in the stomach right after it. That's what it felt like.
And usually during those times, you like to have some people around you, you know, and is that where you kind of turn to family at that point to help through some of that?
Yeah, definitely. My family played a huge role in just me getting better overall. I mean, things like support or even just like physically helping me whenever they could. It was great. I'd say also another thing with that is teammates, seeing teammates that had gone through it, guys like Jeff Agar, seeing him go through 2 elbow surgeries and come out on top is incredible. And I think that was a thing that gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's kind of like it helps when you can kind of see that things can be done.
Yeah.
You know, so that's modeling for sure. What do you think of when you hear the G word now?
When I hear the G word now,
Do you hear it often?
I'll say when I'm not in the baseball setting, I notice how much average people say that word. And it's a little bit interesting because it's something I never really thought about before. I'll say one word that I've picked up on a ton of people saying a lot is like. And that, for me, that's probably my word that I just,
Okay.
you know.
That's really been a thing in our program this season. So I caught a lot of flack from previous podcasts and counting how many times I've said the G word in a podcast and different things. So I've caught that and I've owned it. And, you know, the whole thought process behind it is really we're trying to get you to think a little bit differently, which is basically called rewiring the brain. It's no different than you brushing your teeth with your opposite hand. You know, it's just rewiring your brain. It causes some great things to happen, and it really forces you to do different things. And one of our, you know, mottos here is uncommon. And so you do hear the G word a lot, and there is a way to be able to communicate without using the G word. The good is the enemy of great, and we're trying to achieve greatness here. And it's not perfection, but we're trying to achieve greatness. And it's also a communication piece, because if I ask you how you're doing, most of the people that are outside of our program are going to drop the G word.
Definitely.
But we want it on a different level. I want to know how you're doing, and it's okay if you're less than great. If you're just, I'm okay, I'm decent, you know, those kind of things. It's okay, but you're using some different stuff to help rewire the brain. So has that been challenging for you as we've gone through this process?
It's definitely been challenging for me, yeah. And I'll say I've caught myself a few times. Last night I was leaving the gym. The guy says to me, you know, have a great night. And I responded to him, and I was like, oh, geez. I stopped right there. I started doing push-ups halfway through the door. So,
What have you learned here besides the rewiring stuff?
I think I learned a lot of stuff that can be used on and off the baseball field.
Okay.
I'd say 2 of the key things I've learned is how to be a leader and just how to block out the noise, I guess, which was on the field a huge thing for me. A lot of the time I would just get caught up, you know. I'd get in my own head and have my own thoughts just rolling, and they were never good ones either. They were never great thoughts either. But just being able to tune that stuff out and just try to be myself through those moments helps a lot.
What is your legacy going to be here? Forecast for us a little bit.
I want to have a video of us dogpiling here, and I want you to show it at almost every leadership you have in the future.
I love that. It is impossible to produce superior performance unless you do something different from the majority. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do you see that on a daily basis?
Yeah, I've never been on a team like this with our guys taking near 250 swings a day on offense, our pitchers with almost every resource in the world to get better. I mean, it makes sense why our guys do get a lot better every year.
Mm-hmm. JUCO baseball. You know, it's something that you talked about you didn't know a whole lot about in high school, and you came from the Division I level. So what was it like coming into a JUCO baseball program? Because there's stark differences, and most people are going to think the first thing they think of is like money. But some of the other differences is just time allocations and restraints and things like that too, that are really pretty starkly different than, you know, amongst each other. So what's been your take on JUCO baseball?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say JUCO baseball is a way heavier time commitment and overall commitment. I mean, things at the D1 level, they always almost seem to be cut short because you have those hour limits for every week. Here, we don't really have hour limits, but with everyone being so bought in, it's like it kind of feels easier, you know?
Yeah,
There's
contiguous proximity and things like that. We do have hour limits, but it's just not they're not that extreme.
Okay.
And so, you know, I think I was talking about it in leadership a little bit this last week, and it was like, you know, trying to detail out your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you know, and it's a lot. But I think if you want to be great, you want to find your best self, you want to be a part of something bigger than yourself, you want to have some special memories, you need to put in the effort to achieve that stuff, because it just doesn't happen in sports, and it just doesn't happen in life. You just can't roll out the baseballs and you're going to be, you know, in an environment where it's sunny and 75 all the time. Just does not happen. What beyond learning that stuff, one of the biggest things, and you've had a lot of adversity, but I've really been impressed with your growth as a leader. I think when you came in, you were fighting your own fight in a lot of ways and trying to figure out your own stuff and find your own place on the team while you're still facing adversity after adversity after adversity. And then you came back this year and you were just different. Why do you think that was?
Yeah, I guess I could just say years of experience really helped me, and seeing a lot of the guys. I mean, I'm not sure the exact number of how many freshman pitchers we have this year, but it kind of reminds me of myself when I was a freshman pitcher. I didn't really understand like everything that's going on, but I've picked up on a lot by now, so I think everything I can do to just help them figure it out a little bit more just helps the team get better as a whole.
Yes, you've been an exceptional leader, and I certainly appreciate everything that you do in our program, and I know the rest of our coaches do, and I know the players in our program appreciate having you, and I certainly look forward to what your legacy is going to be when it's all said and done here. So I appreciate you coming into the studios today. Make winning in life your habit, not your goal. Excellence is a practice, not a prize. Build great habits and practices that serve you so you can serve others. Enjoy the small moments in life as they go by in a blink of an eye. Until next time, thank you to all of our listeners. We are all playing a game we can't win, so why not play it to the utmost? Go all in and go Stars. Coach Cut's Corner is recorded live in the WLNZ studios. Engineering and production assistance are provided by Dedalia and Lowry. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it and follow us on all the platforms of social media. You can find more about our program at lccstars.com, and donations to our baseball program can be made at the same site. See you next time.